Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this 8th session of Do's and Don'ts. So it's a webinar series that we organize in collaboration with NCC Netherlands, so with Andrea Moga from NCC Netherlands. And we organize this for CASTIEL 2 with Lei Zhu. So for this 8th session, today we'll discuss about CRMs, contact database, client portfolios, all kind of equivalent way of manage your contacts with industry or other target groups. And today we'll hear from two NCC's experiences on this topic. So first we'll hear from NCC Sweden with Erik Holmström, and then we'll hear from NCC Austria with Markus Stör. As always, the talks will be recorded, and we'll have some time for Q&A, common discussion after the two talks. So please feel free to write your comments, questions for our two speakers in the chat, and we'll have some time after the talks to interact all together. And I think that's all for the practical details. So without further ado, I stop sharing my screen, and Erik, you can start for NCC Sweden.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to double check. How much time do I have for this so that I don't...
Between 10 and 15 minutes.
Okay, that should be fine. Let's see if sharing the screen works now.
Yes.
Okay, super. So first I want to say that...
It's in edition mode. It's not full screen. But we see the PowerPoint well, it's just not in full screen, just to let you know.
Okay, so then you need to help me how I do this, because I got it full screen on my...
Maybe it's the other screen, or otherwise we saw the slides quite well, so it would be fine if too complicated.
It's always complicated somehow. Now I'm going to try again. What about now?
Perfect, full screen.
Okay, that's a relief. Thank you. So I'm gonna try to explain how we use the customer relations management system in the Swedish NCC. I have just put in whatever we do and try to describe that straightforward. And if you have any questions, then just shout out while I'm talking. I have no problems with that. So whatever comes to your mind, just ask. The other thing I realized when I did this is that we do have customer data in here, like names and information about the dialogues we have had. So I couldn't do a live demo because I was cautious about the GDPR requirements. So I have done some screenshots, and wherever I thought that the data was sensitive to share, I have taken it out with a marker. So I hope you will be okay with this. What we have done is to first of all, we have written a white paper on a little bit of this, how we work, and you should be able to get that by just screening this QR code or following the link. And the things I'm going to talk about here in the beginning are well described in that white paper. So and in there we describe how we work with customers, and it's very similar to the way you will work with customers if you are a company selling a product. And that's why a lot of the names of things here are called deals and so on. But we use the definitions of these words a little bit differently. But anyway, what we do is we follow this funnel that you have in the image, and it consists of making a long list of leads, which is basically us finding possible clients that we may want to contact in the future and just adding it to a long list. And then it is converted from a lead to a deal when we start to work on it. And that means that then a person from our side, from our project, will be the owner of that deal. So before we contact a company, it's just a name in a list, and then it's converted to a deal when it has an owner, and then when we actually do things. And then this deal will go through different stages that are described here, and we need a way to keep track of these stages and what is going on in the dialogue with this client. But that's not the whole complexity. There is even more, because in this process we will generate data that are the basis for the KPIs that we need to report back to EuroCC. And some of these KPIs are like the number of participations by small and medium-sized enterprises, number of large enterprises and public administration, and other type of KPIs that you get out from the process of talking to a customer. And they usually come out in this apply and execute HPC projects stage of a deal. But it is even more complicated than that, because on each KPI, we need to label it into what type of contact was made and what did we do with the client. So it could be a training or skill development. It can be some kind of service that we do, or something else. And in the KPI reporting, these are labeled as with T2, T3, and T5 numbers. So we have to set up the customer relation management system so that we can get these out in a nice way at the same time that we work with this funnel of clients and deals. So what we did then is we used a program called Pipedrive that does this for us. And Pipedrive is a web-based program, and it also has a mobile app that you will see later. And it's very easy to add companies on the list of leads. We find these companies by looking at web pages where AI startups, for example, are listed. And you have one example there. Then we can use a script to just parse all the names, and then the script makes an Excel file, and the Excel file can be imported here, and we get a long list of leads. We also find companies while we look at LinkedIn, for example. It can be through personal contacts or training events, through industry organizations, incubators at universities, or others. And then we just import them and add them to a list here, and there's nothing more to it. Then from this stage, here is the web, the mobile app. So you see, you can easily just go in, you add a lead, and then you add an organization, and that's all you have to do. So basically, you have to write the name of the organization in one place, and then you have it in the list. From that, we move into the deal stage, and then there is an easy button. You go into the lead in Pipedrive, and you press convert it to a deal. And when you do that, you assign an owner of the deal, which means that now we know who in the ENCCS project is actually talking to the client. and that doesn't mean that the client is necessarily talking back. It just means that we are trying to get this person or this company to respond to us. And what you see on the screen right now is a failed attempt. So we have a note about why we added them as a lead in the first place. And then you can see the history of me trying to contact these people. And it has been 149 days of trial to do this. And then we just put them on hold because we are not getting into contact with them. So here I actually added the data, but I thought since it's just data that I try to contact people on LinkedIn, I thought it was okay. So that is one outcome of working with the deal. Another outcome can be that they actually respond and start to talk to you. And in this case, it's the company Mappi. And I wanted to pick this example because we have published on our webpage and on LinkedIn that we have worked with them. So it's not a secret. So what happened here is that we got into contact with the CEO of this company, and we started to have an email conversation with them. And the emails are then documented in an email section. So anyone that goes into our system can follow the conversation we have had with this client. And in this particular case, it resulted in an application to the Leonardo supercomputer and a successful project done by this client. So I wanted to show the email feature here. So this is the same deal. I have just scrolled down a bit. And in the Pipedrive system, each deal gets a special email address. So whenever I copy this email address and I put this in the blind copy in the email, then when I send a copy to the client, I get a copy of that email on the Pipedrive automatically. So emailing a client is also always associated with copying this email address. And this is very nice because then I automatically get a dialogue here that is well documented, and we can see what's going on with a particular client. Yeah. Then some things that we do with the client are activities that are eligible for KPI reporting. So the Pipedrive system also keeps track of those. So we have defined this in the configuration of the system as special activities. And in this case, we have 4 different activities, and I wanted to show you one of them. So if I add an activity to a deal, I have a list of different types of activities here that we have configured ourselves. And one of them that is in the circle here is called T3 consulting. And that happened to be the definition of one of these KPIs I was explaining to you earlier. So this means that whenever I add an activity with the definition of consulting here, I get a tag on this activity. And then when I go to another place in Pipedrive, I can get the summary of all these different tags. So here I have clicked the dashboard, and I can configure this dashboard myself. So I have managed to make a graph that counts all the unique T3 activities that we do, and it lists it per month. So right now we can see that in June we have done 10 of these different activities that are defined as the T3 activity in the KPI definitions of the project. And the good thing here is that we can go in and we can share this report between the different members of the pipe drive in our project. So if I'm adding activities, then Tor Wikfeldt, our project leader, he can go in and he sees the same graph and he can click on this. So if he want to report this KPI for June, he clicks there in the red circle, and then you get this list of all the different activities, and he can export it to an Excel file and then do cut and paste into the reporting system for the project. So this means that we can keep track of all the dialogues and all the activities with the clients in an easy way, and we also at the same time get good exportable results on the KPI activities, which means that the reporting becomes very smooth. So yes, that's all. That's how we do it. And very happy to answer questions if you have any. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much, Eric. Very interesting. That's the first time for me I'm hearing from Piperdrive, and I think other people too, because there are a lot of interaction in the chat already. So you can have already a first look at it, and we'll come back to the questions there and the discussions at the end after the second talk. But thanks for sharing this.
I'll try to answer then in the chat while we keep going. Okay, thank you very much.
And we'll also discuss with you, Eric, after the second talk together.
Sure.
Okay, thank you again for sharing this example from NCC Sweden. Let's continue now with NCC Austria and Markus with how you proceed there.
Yes, so thank you. So I think from the logic we are doing similar things like the colleagues in Sweden, but we're not so far did not use let's say a commercial product. We developed something on our own. Basically it's called Django Python, which is a web framework with databases behind. And we've been working with that now for a while, and we are somewhat happy with that. And as always, if everybody is using the tool correctly, it doesn't matter which tool you're using, but you have to make sure that the people are using the tool in the end. So I can just show quickly how the logic in our tool looks like. 1 second. And it boils basically down very similarly to what has been presented before. So we have if we look at that what we have, so it's a web page basically, and I haven't prepared any slide unluckily right now. And from that we have put in basically different databases, database tables, where we can store on the one hand events, so where we participated or presented on our own. So what is when it comes to reporting and other KPIs, we can put down entities which we were in contact with. This is very similar to the leads that were shown before. We can also put down collaborations in a wider sense, so usually with other NCCs or CUEs or something like that. And then we have something which we call projects. This is if we would, after initial contact, work on a real proof of concept or similar with a company or so. And we have also a part where we can add publications like white papers or similar. This is all summed up here in this reporting thing. So I will show this in a minute, just to see how this looks like. When we have events, for example, you can see that we have here this event, which was a webinar, and yeah, so you can yes, you can look at the event. You can see the people who organized it and who helped working on that or had a presentation. We can also add files. This is especially important because the ministry in Austria always wants to have uh, at least an agenda printed out and sent to them in the report. So we have that, and we can also add home pages and further links which refer to this event. Yes, so we can keep track of that and also put in how many participants are there and how many people were there, and have a nice overview on that. Obviously, these events can be created. I will not show that. Similar to that, we have also entities, and for example, this is uh, a company which we have been working a long time with, and there were also some success stories already published. And you can put here in a certain amount of detail about the company itself, and you see, okay, I'm sorry, the HTML formatting is not always nice because I'm always lazy on that, but you have, besides the company data, you can see which kind of projects we are working on with that company, and within the projects, you can see which is the basic scope, and we can have also contracts or NDAs shown here which have been signed, and also kind of action log. So we do not have this feature that was shown before, that you put the email in blind carbon copy and have it added automatically to your system. Is very nice. So we usually do a copy and paste of meeting notes into here, or work directly into these logs. What is important for us is that these these entries have a timestamp. So here, for your example, you can see that we've talked to them in last August, so approximately nearly 1 year ago. And I will come to that in a minute, but based on these entries, we are able to see when we talk to the company, and when it comes to reporting, to tell how many interactions we had with different companies at the given time span. So we have the entities. If you look at the table, you can see that there's a long list, and we can see what's going on. It's not, we have not this, let's say, this lead. We could put this in, but it's not, we're working not systematically on the different leads. We're basically seeing what's coming in and keeping track of ongoing projects, but the step to look into old leads and old contacts and refresh them from time to time, we have not done yet, but could be done, obviously, because, as said before, we have the interaction points and could filter out those which we haven't heard longer than 1 year or so, and start talking to them again. So the next thing, because I've mentioned already before, is projects. So you can see we have here a list of company names and entities, and from which of them we have kind of a support contract where we write down what we want to do in a proof of concept, and if an NDA had to be signed about what was shown to what they are showing to us. And we also have here the project types with different TRL level, and this is just an overview for us. We can go there and see in detail what's going on with them, and what is currently worked on. Yes. Then the next thing is collaborations. This is sometimes a little bit messy. We have to clean that up from time to time. For example, we keep track here. Okay, I was working here in this KPI task force, so we put this in our reporting in this reporting tool, and you can see that we participated here in this task force, which was organized by CASTIEL 2, and we can specify some things here from when to when it was running, and if it was finished, and some details. This is a little bit outdated since the scheme of the technical reporting tool has been changed. I don't know if you will manage to update now in this EuroCC2 project time, but if the thing that we have to report to the project management team are clear, we can do here a granular adjustments to be able to click and write down what is needed for different categories in the end. But nevertheless, at least we have a list to see with which NCCs and so on and other companies we are working together. For example, this is an old development instance we are looking at. So, for example, with NCC France, we've looked into supporting a company from there, and this is how we keep track of that. Okay, so then a quick look into the publications. Okay, there were some uh, uh, papers and some white papers which came out either by companies that worked with us or where we were at a conference or so that we can put this in. And now to get everything together, this is what is done within reporting. And the reporting is, okay, it looks a little bit messy, so I will explain in detail. I will go to the current view. So it looks a little bit messy, and I should put in some things to structure it a little bit more. But the logic is the following. Based on the data that we have, we can now create what I defined as report. This is similar what Eric showed with these graphs before. And we can here have, for example, for a certain time span, like project year 2 in EuroCC, we can collect all interactions with companies. And for example, here, this table shows the interactions via entity type. So we have a list of entities and the action logs that I have mentioned before. So when we interacted with them, and based on that, I can extract now the information and see that in this time span we work together with 6 academic institutions from a certain number of countries, which can I extract automatically from the entity information and sum up. And for example, we had some requests and discussions with entities from the different countries, which sum up to that number. We can do this also for so project here in this sense means we talk to certain initiatives and so on, and also to public administration entities. You can also do then different requests and queries on that data. For example, also when we go via collaborations, which means basically from that table where we can see with how many different NCCs we have looked into things. Basically, was it training? Was it looking together at interaction with the SME and so on. Also, you can do the query on different sectors, which was needed at one point for the reporting. So to make a long story short, this is what we're doing. This is working with a database system, and since it's a database, you can just programmatically interact very easily with that, and that's I think basically a quick overview of how we work with that, let's say, customer data, and try to keep track on that. And just one side remark, since this is a database. We also have a Notion in place, which is for something a little bit more convenient to use. And we are doing an import of the Notion data into that database, because here we can do the querying and the summing up for doing the reporting in an easier way. So somehow that. So but that's basically it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much, Marcus, for sharing how you do the reporting and enter information about your prospects and interactions. Great. Thanks a lot. Okay, so September 15th, we will discuss LinkedIn, social media, and how to use them to reach out to industry. And with this, I thank you again for participating today, and I wish you a nice summer break. Have a nice day and nice summer.